I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, December the 2nd, brought to you in part by Norfenacol by Norbrook. Bovine respiratory disease is the most common and costly disease that's affecting beef cattle today. Norfenacol is approved for both treatment and control of this disease. It's more cost effective than many of the Pioneer products. For more information, go to norbrook.com. Will the basis kill this rally? And it seems like every time we get on one of these rallies, something comes in here and kills it. And this time, it hasn't been killed yet. I'm not going to say that we're not going to get back to the 140 because I think that we could still get back to the 140. But the Packers are putting up some resistance to that. They're not proud that they had to go to 140 last week. And they're looking for any reason to get back off of that and start bringing this fat cattle market back down into the 30s. Even though Packer margins are still historically large, they've haven't had to give up quite a bit, still making close to $400 a head probably on a lot of the cattle that they're slaughtering, but it's nothing like what they were used to during the worst of the pandemic and the gouging that all went on in the last year and a half or so. But they're still making plenty of money. They've got a lot of orders to fill on their end. It's holiday time. They're still sending stuff out that's going to be featured during the holidays. And a lot more people will get into eating beef during their Christmas dinner than they would during Thanksgiving. So, we still got everything stacked in our favor. But we've got the live cattle futures have been down so hard on Monday and Tuesday. Now they came back just minor on Wednesday, but they've been down so far that your December live cattle spot contract is at 136. Well, it's been down pretty hard this week. These guys could take 138 or 9 and be better off than they were where the board was at last week, getting 140, because everybody's hedged. And if you understand how that works, you get to keep that basis and put it in your pocket. So we're unsure how that's going to work, but still these futures are technically bearish. They're overbought as far as the technicals go, which is the squiggly lines on the charts there, and you can't tell that futures market that we're fundamentally armed to go even higher, and a lot of people think we could get to 150 by the end of the year, but there's just so many things that can kill a rally, and right now your basis is what's putting a lot of pressure on this rally. We've seen a few guys sell at some 138 and 139, which is really not lower, but if we don't get back up to 140 on the top side, then that's going to be a negative indicator on your market and probably kill the rally. But we continue to see these Omicron fears, the new variant of the COVID, which, if we knew every variant of your flu, we would just constantly be worried about that all the time. But this administration out of Washington, D.C., they like to promote this Omicron variant as a new fear, and that's the only thing you see when you turn on the radio or the TV is all about this new variant coming out, and that we're going to have to get new boosters together and have more shots and more jabs and all this kind of thing, and that it's even more catchable than what some of the other variants were. How do we know all that stuff? We did indeed hear that it has been confirmed in the United States. Well, we pretty much knew that. I mean, it was started, I guess, in South Africa, but they've got it all over the country, and they've had it confirmed for a while in Canada. So we pretty much knew that it was going to be here if it wasn't already. Which indeed, yes, we know that it's been confirmed here in the United States now. And we're going to hear more and more about that, and the more they talk about it, the more fear-mongering that they do, the more it's going to press down on our publicly traded markets, and your commodities are not immune to that. In fact, they're more susceptible to it than your cash markets or your money trades and your stock market. but we're just going to have to trudge through this, and we can't really hope for anybody outside of the market to prop this market up any further than it's already been, because they still don't have enough confidence in the cattle people to continue to get a higher price to support the futures price where it's at already. But you look at your packers, and we're going to get more hanging space for slaughtering beef here within the next couple of years. We talked about it here just a few weeks ago. But on top of that, American Food Group's plant that's been confirmed that it's going to be built in greater St. Louis area. Now they're going to kill a lot of cows and kind of in between off product, not just straight up steers and heifers so much, but it's looking like the plant that they've talked about in North Platte, Nebraska is going to happen. We've heard rumors that maybe they don't have all the money there and things like that, but it's continuing to progress, and it's looking like that indeed is going to happen. And then now we've gotten confirmation on the other plant that we've talked about some in western Iowa there, which is going to be called Cattlemen's Heritage Beef Company, which is set to be constructed just south of Council Bluffs, Iowa. And it's going to be coming online, looking like, in December of 2023, which sounds like a long ways off. But if you're one of the big four packers and you're looking at that, of course you're looking at filling your needs a long ways out. They're going to start getting nervous about this. And as tight as we are on cow numbers right now, we're likely going to be really short of market-ready cattle going the next 2 or 3 years. And now we've got these new plants coming on. Where are they going to find their product? Well, they're going to face some tough times. And like I've said before, these packers will do everything but pull a knife on them on the other end, on selling the meat end. It's going to be a lot more dog eat dog than it is on the cattle end, on the meat end, finding customers there. And they'll be threatening some of these end users and some of these retail outlets and food service even, that if they don't buy all their product from them and they start patronizing or using some of these new plants coming in, they better get all their product from them. Don't be trying to just get certain things from them, or we're going to cut you off, or we're going to gouge you. And we just hope that there's somebody overseeing that and the fair trade practices on the beef end, because it's going to get pretty tough whenever these new plants come online. But supply and demand is a rotational thing. It'll come back around, and they'll have opportunity to be profitable, and hopefully it will give us a lot more outlets for cattle, which it definitely will as we go forward into the future. But it's starting to look like a lot of these plants are coming together. We were hoping to maybe get half of them, but we just continue to see them going forward. And the big four packers, they deserve this. They just got too cute during the last two Black Swan events and making too much money and gouging the consumers, which ends up hurting our beef demand overall. And with producers being involved in these new plants coming on, some of them, it's definitely going to be a healthier deal. Let's look at your board middle of the week on Wednesday. December live cattle futures, like I said, they were up a little bit, up just 12 cents at 136 even. So that's helping your hedged cattle feeder out a little bit, and it's going to be harder for them to deny those bids that are getting close to that 140 but not at the 140. February was up 70 cents at 138.60. Go on your back months, and they were all up 57 cents to $1.12. Your feeder cattle contracts, January was up 97 after being down 2 days hard to start the week, but at 165.82. And your feeder cattle buyers in your auctions this week have not backed up at all. Cattle just continue to be higher every day, and we see new prices reached, and every place that we see, we're seeing cattle in the southern plains bringing what cattle would bring in the sandhills in Nebraska, just a week or two ago or prior. And so we're on a booming market here on our feeder cattle, and the board can't really deny that, because they're going to have to meet up with that cash price eventually, and they're still trading at a premium to that. at 165.82. Your cash feeder cattle index is in the low 160s. So we're still reaching to achieve that, but that's a January contract. Your March contract on feeder cattle up $1.40 at 167.90. So we're assuming we're going to continue to keep gaining new price levels, and that's on an 800-pound steer. You get down into some of those 6 and 7 weight long time wean calves that are almost as good as a yearling, and they'll just bring a lot more than that. Your back months, your feeder cattle up $1.10 to up 177. Your fat cattle trade is slow developing. The packers are out there kicking tires, they're looking at cattle, they're wanting to get some of their needs filled, and they've got, the 138 was bid everywhere on Wednesday. Most everybody passed it. Now, we had a few basis jumpers that took the 138. Iowa had 700 head confirmed at 138. But, there's some nooks and crannies in Iowa and places like that that can't achieve those very, very top prices. So when they get to 138, that could be better than what they were bid last week. Nebraska did not have any confirmed sales on Wednesday. Kansas only had a few loads, and they were mixed bag cattle, mixed steers and heifers, and anytime you get into pens of those, they're not going to be top quality, they're off quality, but they did sell some of those at the 139. That's another ploy that the packers use, trying to get that price set. If they think they can move some cattle at 139, people won't pay attention to what the quality was on them, and they'll think that the market's 139 and save them $100, on just droves of fat cattle that'll be selling later this week. Texas didn't have any confirmed sales on there, but we also heard of some cattle selling in Nebraska or in Kansas from 218 to 220 dressed. And you think, well, gosh, that's every bit as good as we had last week. But they were sold on a negotiated grid, which I've told you, negotiated grid's the second best way to sell cattle. It's not a pure cash price, not totally on that price. It depends on how the cattle kill. If they have a good carcass, and they can bring that plus premiums, but also if they're not that good at cattle, they're going to get discounted back. But those negotiated grid prices are not as widely reported as what your pure negotiated cash prices are. So they can go ahead and give those guys that full price on a negotiated grid. It kind of keeps hidden a little bit there. They get some of their needs filled, and without it being full tipped off that that's what the market is. But there's no reason that we shouldn't get 140 this week if guys will just keep holding their feet and keeping the pressure on them, and just staving back those lower bids, and we can get back to the 140 this week. Box beef cutout values were lower again. Choice cuts 270.22 on Wednesday afternoon, down $1.46. Selects down 232 at 257.97 on pretty good movement. They backed that market up a little bit on those, and pretty good movement. 227 loads just on Wednesday. Your slaughter is going right along, 365,000. That's the same level that it was at last week when we had that big week, and 6,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. I'm at the Bothwell Hotel, historic old hotel in downtown Sedalia, Missouri. Got a big feeder flash gang rally coming up on Thursday. It's going to be at the Missouri Ag Theater on the Missouri State Fairgrounds. It's free, and you can still come. If you guys are in the area and you want to come, doesn't cost anything. They do have a meal there, and they may charge you something for the meal, but if you don't need that, you can sure come. Going to have plenty of room for everybody. Exchange Bank of Missouri is the main sponsor that's put this whole speaking gig together. Also got a lot of other sponsors on there. Biozyme, several of the local sale barns, Kingsville Livestock Auction, Jones Brothers Livestock Auction in Marshall, Windsor, Missouri Livestock Auction, Benton County Vet Service is going to be on there, and Robert Taylor Insurance. So if you guys are somewhere in West Central Missouri and you would like to come to one of these gatherings, this is your opportunity to do it. I've been around Missouri quite a bit putting on these feeder flash gang rallies, so I think we've pretty well covered them up. But if you haven't seen one yet and you'd like to come, you're welcome to come on Thursday, and the doors open at 5 o'clock, and I think we start speaking at 6:30. So if you guys would like to do that, that's here today on Thursday. Look at your feeder cattle markets. Don't forget, Joplin Regional Stockyards got their big value added sale here on Thursday. You can view and bid that sale on dvauction.com. They've got about 7,000 head of program cattle. And like I said, when I talked about this sale earlier in the week, Mark Harmon told me that about 90% of those are going to be carrying that JRS green tag, which says that they have been weaned for 60 days. So, you know, like I said, they'll be nearly as good as yearlings. They'll be hard calves, had all their shots, a long time weaned, and preconditioned there for that sale. And then at the conclusion of that sale, they got a primetime livestock video right there from the barn, and there'll be strings of cattle on that deal. Talk about your feeder cattle market on Wednesday. Your real-time index on DV auction based on an 800-pound steer up through Wednesday's sale. That's a 7-day moving average. But Wednesday laid at 160.49. That was up another 42 cents. So we're still gaining ground there. Look at your big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma. 10,400 head for the 2-day sale. Feeder cattle sold steady to a buck higher, but I'm going to give you a quote in a minute that looks a whole lot higher than that. Calves were $10 to $15 higher than the last sale they had, which was 2 weeks ago because they were closed for Thanksgiving last week. But your Pee-wee calves weighing under 450, just right to go out on wheat, were as much as $20 higher in El Reno. But look at this big time quote on some feeder steers out of El Reno, Oklahoma. 64 head, 818-pound steers bring $169. How about a market that I don't talk about very often, but we do get quotes through Cattle Market Central? Harrington Livestock Commission in Harrington, Kansas. Look at these loads of steers, and mostly weighing from 800 to 900 pounds, selling from 153 and a quarter to 158 and a quarter in Harrington, Kansas. How about one of our big strings, and this will be one of the bigger strings that I'll quote here all year long, but Stockman's Livestock in Yankton, South Dakota. They sell big strings of cattle there. They have a good fat cattle auction, which they had cattle up over 142 on Tuesday in their fat cattle auction, but on Wednesday, their feeder cattle auction, they sold one string, 587 head of 784-pound top quality steers there, bring $171.50. And you think, gosh, I wish we could get big prices like that out east. How about an eastern market? North Arkansas Livestock in Green Forest, Arkansas. They sold 3,800 head of cattle on Wednesday, and you think, my God, they sell them one at a time. It'd take forever. You know, I checked there, 6 o'clock in the evening, they were already done. They sold strings of cattle in there. Look at these strings of cattle that they sold. Their steers were quoted $9 to $17 higher than 2 weeks ago, which was the last sale. Heifers $7 to $11 higher. Look at this one quote down at the bottom there. 70 head, 812-pound steers, Green Forest, Arkansas, bring $158. They had a sale in Bassett, Nebraska. Bassett Livestock Auction, 3,800 head there, mostly all calves. The steer calves were $5 to $19 higher than the same sale 2 weeks ago. And you look at this automated market report from Cattle Market Central through DV Auction there, and you see the best tested weight, 679 head of your 5-weight steer calves, average 560 pounds with a weighted average price of $194.03 on all the 5-weight steers that they had there in Bassett on Wednesday. 1,167 head of your 6-weight steer calves in Bassett, average 643 with a weighted average price of $178.08. And in fact, our best quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday, your Zach Tran top quote for the day, come out of Bassett, Nebraska, 165 head, 564-pound steers bring $211. And that's your feeder flash for Thursday.